When I was a boy, really wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons, and parents said, "Well, you can, but it clashes with some orchestra." So that was true. I sort of dabbled in that, didn't work out. Same with cricket, didn't work out. Football didn't work out, but it was music. Always took precedence. It's always been a part of my life. I didn't want to do anything else, couldn't do anything else, and still can't do anything else. My Russian teacher said, imagine you don't speak any language that the orchestra speaks. Show everything with your hands. Short, fast, whatever expression, show it all with your hands.
I think the best conductors don't need to say too much. Orchestras don't like to be talked at for long periods of time, and Hamish knows just what to say, and the rest he does it with his body language.
I was in the hotel in Auckland after I ended a Soldier's Tale concert. I sort of fell over and I noticed that my right side wasn't working. So it was a brain bleed, what I had. I couldn't sort of enunciate what I wanted to say. I thought I was saying it, but what I thought came out was just...
It was a huge shock. The orchestra was on tour in Kerikeri. We woke up the morning after he'd had the stroke and the news just filtered around us. I just burst into tears when I heard he's in his prime, right? In his life prime, conducting prime, and it just came out of the blue for everyone. We knew it was bad.
Hamish was diagnosed with intracerebral hemorrhage. That's a type of a stroke. That happens when an artery ruptures. It's what we define as a life-threatening situation when you have a bleed inside the brain, so medical attention is needed straight away. In this picture, what we see, this white area here, that's the bleed. And that's actually what happened to Hamish. So he had a bleed inside the left side of the brain, and from what we can see in this picture, it's quite deep. When I saw him the first time, I didn't say to him, look, you can't conduct. When he asked me the first question, I said, look, we'll wait and see. So his initial journey with us was not easy.
For a long period of time, we didn't really know. Although, when he transferred back down to Wellington and I was able to see him at the hospital for the first time, I thought, this is going to be all right. He's so bloody determined he loves the music so much that I could see that he was going to make it happen one way or the other.
He always listened to music, and I think music gave him joy and gave him hope that he could be back conducting. From the medical point of view, I have to say music has helped him because it prevented him from having depression.
When I was in hospital, I didn't go out of my way to hear it, but when I heard music, it was like, oh, that's what it was like. And that's what I do. And as my brain was slowly sort of trying to wake up, it was very good to hear. In terms of the music and the brain, there must be some connection in terms of the right side and the left side talking to each other. And music is fantastic at that. This looks like my right hand, and this is obviously the left. So my brain, if you do it enough, you'll trick the brain into thinking that the right hand is doing the same thing as the left. Put it this way, the jury is out whether this really works, but it's worth trying.
So in the early stage, rehabilitation is really important. You kind of create new connections to allow the brain to function as it was before. When we talk about the rehabilitation, it's not just physiotherapy. I would say 1 hour a day for each therapy that he needs. So 1 hour of physiotherapy, 1 hour of speech therapy.
played oboe for about 3 years, 3 poor years. And the bassoon was much more my cup of tea. Yeah, I couldn't stop. Yeah, nice.
Hamish joined the orchestra as a bassoonist, and we became friends. He is a lot of fun. He has a real twinkle in his eye, and he loves a good laugh. He's always been really sociable. He's often one of the ones, well, traditionally one of the ones who's probably up the latest, the longest, party the hardest.
The thing about performance is quite interesting. It's so immediate. It's really now, in the air, right there and then. And so when you stop playing that phrase or that note or for the night, you know, it's gone. At some point I thought, I just don't want to play the bassoon for the rest of my life. I wanted more than that. And I got into the music and how amazing all this orchestral repertoire was. And I wanted to do that, influence that more. And the only way to do that is conducting, not as a bassoonist. In the past, I didn't use a baton, so I had my hands, I was using both the hands. And the idea is I use both the hands.
It's more unusual probably not to use a baton. Hamish doesn't need a baton, it's just not something that's missing for him. I don't ever see him conduct and think, oh, I wish that you had the white stick. He is just able to do everything without it. He's just a really innate musician who I think understands how to get the best out of people.
I had high blood pressure, like, you know, sky high. In my early 50s, and I should have gone to a doctor to get myself tested and get a finger at the bum and all those things that you don't really do over a day off. you do something else, right?
And he was under medication prior to the stroke. Unfortunately, he wasn't compliant taking his medications every day as he should have done, and also checking that blood pressure checked on a regular basis. I believe Hamish has been also under considerable stress with his job as a conductor traveling, around New Zealand, and this might have contributed to the stroke.
I sort of need to help my arm along like this.
Each recovery journey is different, but as time went on, he was able to swallow. The strength of his leg improved, so he was able to walk with the use of the quad stick. The power of his right upper limb was improving. So yes, that gave me a hope that he would have been able to conduct again. There are 7 stages of recovery, apparently. And the first one is quite limp and quite flaccid. And the second stage is the onset of spasticity. It's very hard to say, ironically. So I've got a bit of that. So spasticity is an increased tone. So what happens is that the muscle struggles to relax, and that pulls your arm or your shoulder up, and it can cause a lot of pain. It can cause a lot of spasms and contractures. It happens to 30% of the patients after a stroke. Well, that's annoying. That's just like, oh, come on, just give me a limp limb, and I'll deal with it. I get some Botox in my arm for that, and that loosens the muscles, and so you just go on with your life. I thought, well, I've got one hand. I conducted a recording session about 6 months into it. And it was fine. My brain was fine. I mean, my right side of my body was still weak. I was worried. And the biggest problem I have with conducting is turn the page. But I've only got one hand, and so things need more preparation that way. The great thing about it is that I can still conduct, albeit with one hand. And you can do a lot with one hand. It's actually remarkable that there's hardly any difference. You'd think, okay, so he's only using one arm as opposed to 2 arms. So you'd think, oh, well, it can't be as good. But actually, it's just as good, if not even better. In fact, I personally think that he's a better conductor because he
he can't just rely on having the two arms. He's using absolutely all of his faculties, his body, to express and show the music.
I saw him in July when he was conducting the La Traviata. I really felt really emotional that he was able to give the best of him. And thinking back about his journey, the difficulty that he faced during the recovery, I was so happy for him. And as I said before, a bleed in the brain is a life-threatening situation. He knows that he had a second chance. He's trying to live it with what he loves, which is music.
She said it. Then I went away and thought about it. I was like, oh yeah, because you sort of cark it with an injury like that. Some sort of artery exploded in your head or something. And I was like, no, you put it like that. I laugh because would have been a pain in the ass to be cut off like that. I miss walking around, but the idea is that one day I'll be able to walk better. I mean, I might not get anything back, but at least it'll be faster than now, which it wouldn't be hard to be faster than that. But I can move around and get around, so I'm lucky in a lot of ways.
I'm really, really proud of him. I think he's my hero. He's, he helps people to understand that also in difficult situations you should never give up.
It's happening, things are happening. It's going to be a long time, but I'm lucky there. The trajectory is a little bit like this, By the time I get there, I'll die.